What is up, everyone? After a week, almost 2 week hiatus, the boys are back. Welcome back to the Academic Redshirt podcast. This is Luke speaking. It's been a while. We haven't been here since before the Georgia game, and we know we know what's happened in both the Georgia game and the Ole Miss game. We'll get into it more so the Ole Miss game, but let's go around the room because it's been a while. First, we got our producer, our man up in Fayetteville, Alec. What's going on?
What's up, guys? I think the reason that we lost actually is because it did not work the field goal nets at either the Georgia or the Ole Miss game, respectively. So I think I might be to blame here.
Way to fucking go, dude! Jeez.
And
Literally
also-
had one job.
We got our man north of the border. Happy belated Canadian Thanksgiving. Gab, what's going on?
Thank you. We had a nice little Alouettes Red Blacks game. That name might get canceled. It sounds like a name that would get canceled. The Ottawa Red Blacks. Anyways, moving on. We got a big dub on Thanksgiving. Backup QB from Butler coming in and winning for the Alouettes. You think I'm kidding? I'm not. The other guy got massively conkied. It was honestly kind of scary. But yeah, kid from Butler. I didn't know they had a football team. Came in and won the game for us.
Any of those weird punts at the end zone during that game?
The Rouge.
Yeah, there was probably 5 of them. I think.
Wow.
3 of them.
What do you guys eat on Canadian Thanksgiving? Is it the same? Do you guys have pilgrims and stuff, or
We don't eat the pilgrims.
What do you guys?
We actually came up with Thanksgiving, and you guys just follow afterwards. If you look at a map, chronological map.
Thanksgiving is the holiday where everybody pretends like things were fine between the Pilgrims and the Native Americans.
Going back to the Red Blacks, did the Ottawa team, they used to be called the Renegades, right? And then they changed their name.
Then they folded.
Oh, okay. I was about to say that. Why would you change
Because teams
Renegades?
fold.
Yeah, I didn't grow up with the Red Blacks. They weren't a team. They became a team I think 8 years ago or 7 years ago. And the Edmonton Eskimos are now named the Elks because Eskimo is not okay.
That is derogatory.
Vancouver Canucks, you're on the hot seat.
I don't think so. Canucks is calling someone a Yankee.
No,
they're in trouble for the logo.
It's the logo. It's the orca.
Okay.
Apparently,
Are whales canceled?
There's a white professor at the University of Alberta or Saskatchewan, one or the other, who made a big deal about how it was insensitive for the orca. He's a sociology or anthropology professor. I don't know. But he made a big deal out of it, and I guess he got a couple followers on Twitter to tag along.
Yeah, the orcas can't approve the logo.
I think Braden Holby, they made him change his mask last year.
That's what it was, because he basically had it looked like a totem pole on both sides of the mask or something.
Yeah, I mean, thank God Seattle didn't call their team the Totems.
That's what they
used. No, they used to have a pro team that's called they're junior teams called that. It's there's no problem with that. Everyone's I don't know.
All right. Anyway, last but not least, that we're that's Aiden.
Our new professional hockey player.
Yeah, our newest professional hockey player. At some level of professional hockey, but he is a professional hockey player, soon to be based out of Michigan.
Yeah, you'll see me in beautiful, gray, cold Michigan. Right across, just a stone's throw, a good skip of a rock across the river from the homeland of Renault down there.
Will we see you in anything else than a practice jersey?
Fucking $1 million question. I think we'll find out. I
fancy
myself right now. Oh, what's his name on Bustin' with the Boys? Not a fucking
Taylor
Lewin.
Compton.
Will Compton.
Yeah, I'm Will Compton of this pod right now.
We're gonna see. We're gonna see.
Taylor the one?
No.
We're gonna see Aiden in the green no contact jersey. That's all we're gonna see.
He's got the stop sign on the back.
Right.
Gonna get conked in my first skate at camp. Go straight to the IR.
All right.
Give me a bus ticket back to Dallas.
Hey, if you're here in Dallas, I'll make 2 members of the podcast in the same city again. So, but we're gonna
be a diverse pod.
That's right, because we're gonna have one guy in Dallas, one guy in Fayetteville, one guy in Michigan, and one guy in Quebec.
Hey, I'm remote. Dallas, Quebec.
I have a question. Can I go to Canada?
If you want. Are you
passport? No, with COVID right now. Can I go?
Are you vaxxed?
Oh, we don't discuss.
No, we don't talk about that. That's HIPAA.
Yeah, we don't.
Vaxxed,
as someone who works in healthcare,
if you're vaccinated, we're not going to go back and forth. But I couldn't.
You just have to show a negative COVID test.
Yeah, but you have to show a positive one to get to the country.
Show a positive test to get in.
Wait, so if
Canada,
somebody,
it's like we used to have leper colonies. Canada's now the COVID colony.
Do you have to? So if you are vaxxed, you still have to show a negative test. But if you're not vaxxed, you just can't go. Period.
I don't think so. I think if you're vaccinated, you don't have to show a negative test because,
I live here.
Oh, okay. I don't. All right.
He's Canada explaining him.
Are you wearing an AOPI shirt?
Yeah, he is. Turn the page, dude. Like, it's been like fucking 5 years.
Holy shit, Gaps. Don't even start with me. Don't even start with me.
I mean, you were a 5-year. I was a 4-year.
Hold on. Shout out Keller. Going to see.
All right.
That was fucking bad shit.
And he got an AOPI pregnant. He also married her. He didn't marry her.
Twins. Shout out, Kels.
We can skip over the Georgia game, but we got to recap the 52-51 loss to the Ole Miss Rebels.
That was the best game of the weekend, and no one's talking about it other than us.
Well, it's because
1A, 1B for the Red River showdown.
Right. You can't say S out. You can't say S out. You can only say the only S word you can say is showdown.
River shooting.
Red River massacre.
It
was all in the first quarter. It was.
This is why we don't get podcasts out anymore.
It's just we have 30 seconds that we can use.
God.
No, but it really was like Gabs. Your point. It was at least like 1A.
Well, the thing was, the difference between that game and the Texas OU game, it was toe-to-toe the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there was a single time where a team was up 2 scores.
Ole Miss was
Luke,
up 10 at half, right?
Yeah, we were definitely down 2 scores.
Yeah.
Because we lost.
Anyways,
going to the Red River game, Luke, as somebody who's watched it for a long time, like I have, I looked at my dad at one point watching it, and I think it was 28-7, and I was like, this is going to be a 3-point game. Like, this is just how these games go. One team jumps out big early, and then it's just bullshit, and then in the fourth quarter, suddenly you have a 1-score game.
Not only that, but the bar I was watching it at here in Dallas, you've probably been to it, but I know I've been to it with Gabs, Henderson Tap House. I was watching it with a buddy of mine who went to OU, and that same bar, me and him were watching. If you guys remember when OU played Baylor and OU came back from a 28-3 deficit at Baylor, like in 2019, is when Jalen Hurts was quarterback of Oklahoma, and I was like, dude, like it was when it was 28-7 Texas. I was like, dude, like we've been like this bar's got like OU magic in it. We were here for the Baylor game where they came back, but like
also we hate OU and Texas.
Well, like Aiden, to your point, like there are like even a couple of years ago, in 2018, Texas jumped out to a huge lead when it was Sam Ehlinger was a quarterback from Texas, and then Kyler Murray was a quarterback for OU. Except in that game, Texas won and held on. I mean, it's always like Texas OU is just like Arkansas Ole Miss. Like crazy shit is going to happen every single time.
So Barry Odom doesn't want to be a head coach.
He doesn't want to be a defensive coach either.
You guys are all. I think you guys are all stupid with your takes about Barry Odom. Ole Miss arguably has the best offense in the country.
They couldn't get a single fucking stop, man.
The only 2 touchdowns Matt Corral threw were to wide open busted coverages.
Yeah, like it's how are you going to blame the defensive coordinator for busted coverage? That's the player biting on that play. And honestly, everything went well other than Matt Corral was just better with his legs than he was last year. The only reason, like early on, the only reason is our 3-man rush was spread out, and he ended up just get out, and that opened up the run game.
We can't.
Well, you got to adjust to that. You got to adjust to that at half.
We just can't.
We can't defend
with a mobile quarterback.
The way it was at halftime, we were containing him pretty good. The second half, it's when the entire rush, like their running game and passing game, just ridiculously opened up.
Yeah, Snoop Connor. Yeah, Snoop Connor absolutely went off in the second half. He had like at least 2 touchdowns.
It was only because he was able to get out of the pressure of that 3-man. And it's been the case with Stetson Bennett too. Like early in the game he didn't do much, but like early in the game, he can get out of there with his legs. Last year when he played Georgia, we were crushing them, and then Stetson Bennett could make plays with his legs and get out of that pressure. And that's when we get in trouble. It's mobile quarterbacks. It's the same. That's just how you beat that 3-man front. That's it. Like,
is Auburn a panic button game?
What?
Is Auburn a panic button game?
It's a must win.
It's not a panic button. It's definitely a must win. But
can't lose.
We can't lose. But I mean, if we lose, I'm not pressing the panic. If we lose, I'm not pressing the panic button. But you have to be very careful. Granted, they play Arkansas Pine Bluff the week after, but like you're either going into your bye week 5-3 or 6-2. So
that's very different this year. 6-2 is still viable. It is still a viable contender.
I also think one of the major issues is, and I've said that so many times, LSU still has so much skill on their team that no matter how
LSU is dead.
No matter how last year they beat us. Yes, there was suspect shit, but last year we were a better team. The issue is they have talent. Like they have all those 5-star guys. They beat Florida last year when they shouldn't have beat them. It's literally they just have those good players. And if they decide to actually try one game and it's going to happen to be against us, it's going to be a tough game. That's just how it's going to be.
They're going to be on an interim by then.
What?
They're going to have an interim head coach.
So? It's going to be John Gruden.
No, John Gruden's going to make us win in Tennessee eventually.
How about Tennessee getting good overnight?
Yeah.
No, well, they've
gotten good.
Okay, but they've only beaten South Carolina and Missouri, like the 2 worst teams in the SEC East. So they've yet to play, and they got railroaded by Florida. They've yet to play Kentucky. They've yet to play Georgia.
I think they play Ole Miss.
They don't. They play
tight.
Yeah, and they play, but they still have to play Georgia, Kentucky, and Alabama.
What if
at Neyland? At Neyland. That wouldn't help us.
No, they play Bama. They play Bama in Tuscaloosa.
The seedings for division, whatever. It's the entire SEC. Like it's the conference year record. It's not the division record.
So
if Ole Miss,
we're out then.
Not if Bama
no, because Bama has 1 loss to Ole Miss. Ole Miss has 1 loss. No, Bama has 1 loss to A&M. Ole Miss has 1 loss to Bama. We have 2 losses, 1 Georgia and 1 Ole Miss. So if we win out and we beat Bama, Bama has 2 losses. We have 2 losses. And if Ole Miss lost another game, they would have 2 losses in the SEC. And then there's that 3-way, which is the highest ranked team in the college football poll, like playoffs or whatever poll they want. The highest ranked, they're the ones who make the SEC tournament. Well, championship. God, I can't even fucking speak today.
I hate that.
I know. Yeah. But the good thing is we play Bama at the end of the season. So if we if we beat them there, we're gonna hop everyone. There's no way.
I can see that shit with us being tied with Ole Miss and then the playoff committee fucking us by 1
No,
spot
they wouldn't. Like
that
it was the same thing that happened with Texas Tech, OU, and Texas. The year when
2008
Tech beat Texas, Texas beat OU, and OU beat Tech. 2006 or 7 or 2008. Yeah, that year. It was the exact same thing that year. And OU just had the most recent good win because they were the last one to play Tech and beat them. So they just hopped everyone for the Big 12 championship game, and they played like Mizzou or something and shit pumped them.
All right. So since we talked about like Matt Corral, I think we should highlight more KJ Jefferson as the Heisman contender here. So yeah, 25 of 35 passing, 326 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. So we don't count that interception as a Hail Mary. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
85 on the ground with 3 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
How about the 2 bombs to Treylon Burks in the second half?
Back to back,
Like we need more of that in our offense. Honestly, like
we got to put in Malik Hornsby and rush for -6 yards. I don't know what I'm telling you.
Because everybody on earth, when you have Rocket Sanders, who is at some point going to be the best back in the NCAA, he's incredible. Yeah. KJ, to your point, talking about how good he was great.
Yeah.
If he was at any big market school, if he was at Notre Dame, he'd be the top of the Heisman candidates. I mean, but Statue of Liberty there, we win the game. It sucks to lose like that. Love the decision because we weren't going to win that game in overtime. Yeah. I think you're lying to yourself if you say that we would.
I mean,
love the decision to go for it. Hate the play call.
I do think now, like, open up the playbook. Just open it wide open for him.
Oh, if you score 51 points, they probably open up the playbook in the middle of the Ole Miss game, for that matter.
Well, they knew
you shouldn't lose a game that you score 51 points in under any circumstance. Not in this conference. In the Big 12.
I mean, how many games has Ole Miss lost where they scored 45 to 50 against us through the years?
Like there's a couple,
right?
Yeah, but we were celebrating our defense,
right?
Yeah,
I mean. Yes, there's 2 sides to it. I mean, yes, like our defense, like in no circumstance you gave him 52 points, but if you look at the 4 games we had won, we put up no more than 40 points in a game in our 4 wins up to this point, and the fact we put up 51, I mean, is obviously a step in the right direction.
Devil's advocate, they were missing guys too.
What?
They were missing guys too. They were missing their number 1 receiver.
I mean, I don't think that changes much. I think the QB running the ball opened up the receiver's play.
Yeah. No, you're right. We have Dalton Wagner out now too. So I mean, that's a significant shot.
Did he just lose a finger or something? What the fuck was that?
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck that was.
How do you lose a finger and have surgery on it?
That was really confusing.
Had to be dislocated. Maybe.
That had to be it. Yeah, you don't
his fingers out. Where did it go?
I feel like if a lineman dislocates a finger, he's back in the next week. So I don't know.
Was it
surgery?
Was it a JPP without the fireworks? Is that how? Is that what we're talking about right now? Like losing fingers that way?
Where's JPP now?
It's in Tampa Bay.
I feel like he's in Tampa. Yeah.
JPP.
Giovanni Bernard.
But we are this coming Saturday at 11 a.m. again.
Fuck. And then next week too.
Right. Well, who cares what time the game is in Little Rock?
Yeah.
But
we'll get to Little Rock.
Oh, don't say anything bad about Little Rock.
Hey, I can
hillbilly
for Little Rock.
Hillbilly Wilson will come talk shit. Let's have a legitimate discussion. Is Little Rock a good place?
Is College Station a good place?
No. That's why we don't play there.
The poverty rate in College Station is twice as much as Little Rock.
That's why we don't play in College Station.
I mean, we did last year.
We're going to in 2025.
Yeah. So let's stop talking shit about Little Rock. It's part of Arkansas. Okay, first of all, we gonna talk shit about fucking Odessa, Texas now?
I mean, Odessa sucks ass.
Yeah,
Odessa. What are you talking about? Odessa's boring.
Yeah, no, that's
Odessa's fucking horrible.
What are we gonna talk about shit about McKinney, Texas? They fucking suck too.
Yeah, McKinney sucks. How about that?
Lubbock sucks.
Okay, but that's just wrong though. McKinney arbitrarily doesn't suck. Little Rock fucking blows.
I don't know, man.
Our stadium in McKinney is nicer than Warwick.
Take.
Yeah,
that's a take.
That's not true. Just because you have 100 U.S. flags all over everyone's yard, that it's better. Good lord, like
Dude, you can't. Are you willing to? Are you
per
okay?
yard.
You're dying on the War Memorial Stadium, though.
Yeah,
Are you disrespecting the troops?
I would rather play a football
War
game
Memorial
at War
Stadium.
Memorial
I'd rather
Stadium
play. I'd rather play a
than
home
any
game in
ISP.
fucking. I'd rather play a home game in Vietnam, circa 1970.
1670?
I don't fucking know. Then play a fucking game at War Memorial. Good God. War Memorial.
Nicest thing in
War
American
Memorial's a
ever said about
disaster.
Cue the
What did they-
CCR.
Why
Yeah.
did they even build it?
To beat LSU, it's literally the stadium to beat
Yeah.
LSU, and you can never say otherwise. We don't.
War
we're not-
Memorial is a big. I'm looking at pictures of War Memorial right now. It's a fucking dump.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a dump, but it's
care.
our
I don't
dump.
care if we play in a.
Well, no,
dump.
it's not our dump. The school's in Fayetteville. It's not our dump. It's
We
Arkansas.
don't beat
dump.
LSU in Fayetteville. We beat them in Little Rock. I don't care
Yeah.
what. Like, I will sacrifice if it
Yeah,
means.
Luke rushed the field
2014.
for that.
Oh,
If it
2014.
means.
we got
What?
circumcision bets. Let's go.
Shit. Okay. If it means winning every time against LSU in Little Rock, I have no problem with playing there. Because we're not that good here at home against LSU. Like some of the best games were played there.
Like I see both arguments here, and yes, like we should play every home game in Fayetteville since we renovated the stadium. But to Gab's credit, if we weren't stuck with Mizzou every Thanksgiving and we were still playing LSU every Thanksgiving, I could see where playing LSU at War
Thanksgiving's the
Memorial
only
in Little Rock-
justification you could
Yeah.
ever make for Little Rock because nobody's in Fayetteville. That's the only justification you could ever
Yeah,
make.
so that's why they should play that game on Thanksgiving. Like that's why it would be a good idea. Like in theory, it'd be a good idea to play that game, like an LSU Thanksgiving weekend game in Little Rock.
Also, most of the good athletes are from Little Rock in the state. I'm not gonna lie.
We get our best players from Little Rock, Arkansas,
No,
and
but-
we're fucked forever.
Throughout,
We are
throughout the
fucked.
program's
Alabama
history,
gets
Hey, don't
best
talk
players-
shit about Hunter Henry.
If
No,
we're playing
the point-
games in Little Rock to recruit Little Rock, we are fucking dead.
No,
and we'll
but the
never be a
point
playoff
is-
team.
no,
I don't
but
give a fuck. Have a better fucking stadium in your capital. This shit
you
is
became a
horrible.
Hog fan like when you left Ole Miss to come here. That's when you became a Hog fan.
Whoa.
Yeah, we went there. Okay,
Wow,
Aiden, when you
shots.
transferred from Ole Miss to Arkansas is when you became a Hog fan. Actually,
Shots. No, this is all it's a bizarre argument that nobody else in the country does. Nobody else in the country has this conversation. I get that Arkansas is a unique market. Yeah, it's fucking great. It's great. So
Yeah, but
if
there's,
you
like,
love the Hogs,
super-
I love my pigs. Then fucking drive to Fayetteville if you love them that much.
I just
Because recruits don't why it's not even about playing in the Rock. It's like why so you have these guys traveling. They're staying in a hotel, like they're not at home. They're not at home, they're not in Fayetteville. Like it's
They went
like
more than
guys, you
Fayetteville.
understand fucking travel weekends. Like it's another travel weekend, even if it's classified as a home game. Like that fucking blows.
you know
That
who liked playing-
sucks.
You know who really liked playing there?
4 Little Rock kids on the fucking football team.
You mean like Darren McFadden? He really liked
Hunter
playing
Henry.
there.
Okay.
You know who is the new Darren McFadden?
Like
Rocket
best
Sanders.
player, best games there.
I don't
This is,
I don't think Aiden's actually ever been to Little Rock.
yeah. We
Driven through it.
I've been to Conway.
Driven through it. What the
Aiden-
fuck do I need to
Aiden-
see in Little Rock?
Aiden got in a fight in Little Rock against Ole Miss.
I did
Okay.
actually.
He just went and he dove on their bench trying to fight a bunch of guys and they just piled on him.
7 guys.
Aiden, are you just mad because we had to play in Little Rock?
No, that was actually a fun game. I enjoyed that.
I hated it. We never got back in time for me to actually enjoy the night out on Dixon. It was always 12:30 and I could only be there for an hour.
You didn't want to stay in Little Rock? Why is that?
Is there a reason why you wouldn't want to stay overnight
that
in
was-
Little
that
Rock?
was also-
Something wrong with Little Rock?
That was also before the JJ's in Little Rock opened. Because I think there's JJ's there.
Yeah, shout out Jay.
Was there
Sponsor the
something
pod.
wrong with
Yeah.
Little Rock abs that you didn't want to go out? Did you not feel safe?
Well, we weren't allowed to because we had to go back to Fayetteville. You can ask the coach that. I have no opinions on that. Nice try though.
It's a completely different game when you play at home versus when you play on the road. A&M's not a good football team. They won at home in front of 106,000 people. That's why they won that game.
And because Zach
They won that game because it was at home.
Because Zach Calzada went off.
dropped his balls. He dropped
Right.
his balls.
If that game was in Tuscaloosa, A&M doesn't win.
Yeah,
there's no yell leaders in
Just like
Tuscaloosa.
if Ole Miss game was in Fayetteville, we would have won.
Yeah. So why would you
Right.
have neutral site games?
That's typically how like home field advantage works. Look at that. I also do, and I've said this like the last couple weeks. I know the last few years have been miserable, and a lot of people like the fan base is still there and still cheers on, but like the attendance hasn't been there compared to other schools that like some schools suck and the attendance is still going to be there. I feel like there is the part that we don't do a great job when we're not good at home of showing up.
Well, it's
We-
okay.
Why
we're-
would we?
we're-
Why would we have showed up for Chad?
Right. That's what I was about
that.
to say. Like everyone was so apathetic during the Chad Morris era. It's like there was really no reason to
No,
show
I
up.
completely get that.
I'm looking at pictures of War Memorial. It's making me want to bomb it.
I get that point, but there's also like last year. Well, it was COVID, so I'm not going to talk about that. I don't know. For me, it's just like you see schools like Tennessee and all that when they suck, like they're still showing up to games. Like it's ridiculous. I kind of think like our fans are still.
If they were as bad as we were, they wouldn't have showed up.
Yeah, that's what I think. Like Tennessee,
If they were as
yes,
bad as us, they
Tennessee
would
has
not
been
have fucking
bad.
been there.
Tennessee has been bad, but they've never been like as bad as we were in 2018 and 2019.
I don't know.
Like-
Well, probably that's true, but there's also the fact that like we appear to be a lot worse because we're not getting any sort of home field advantage. Like that's why I said the Arlington game. I enjoyed it during the Chad Morris years because that's probably when we had the most fans there. Those were like literally like our most like the biggest home game technically was the A&M game in Arlington because that's when like all the kids would go back home and everyone was so pumped for it. And like the home games, you're not telling me we didn't have a big turnout for North Texas. No one was going to those games, and then we kind of lose. We get embarrassed, and we're wondering why. Well, we're also not really showing up to those games.
I mean, I think that. I mean, yes, you do have a point, but I also think it's more of we didn't win a Power 5 game for 2 seasons. I mean, who would want to watch that? You know,
Well, maybe
if we were,
would've
it's different.
won.
Like if we
I'm saying,
sucked,
like
if we sucked and still went like 5-7 or 4-8 with like a conference win or 2 conference wins, like that's different than the lowest of the lows we had with Chad Morris.
I don't know. Well,
Alabama can't get students in the building and they win every fucking game.
yeah, but that's because they're too good, and because
So you think
there's-
Alabama students would be going if they were losing by 40 to UNT?
I think
That's
the
different.
point
That's different because to Gabs' point,
Mm-hmm.
like Alabama, there was like a couple years ago, they were like where they were trying to entice students or something, or they were going to track their student IDs or something. Because like if they went to more games, they would get like points towards going to a bowl game or whatever. But yeah, it's
We did
like
that with basketball 2 years ago.
they're so good to the point where like their
Yeah.
students won't even show up to like when we play at Alabama. You know,
but
Ole Miss couldn't even sell out this weekend.
well, because
I mean,
they're
it was
also
11
playing
a.m.
North
game.
Texas.
that was Mizzou.
I said
Ole-
Ole Miss didn't sell out this weekend.
I mean,
You still have empty seats?
yeah, I think Ole Miss sold out. It's just students not showing up. That's the same with us. Like,
That wasn't the student section. That was fucking like the 20-yard line,
I don't know.
the sideline. They didn't. There was almost an entire section that was empty.
Either way, I think we need to do better. Like, why do you think Sam Pittman's on Twitter, like, telling us to come to games? Because, like, I don't know. You don't.
I think he's
Usually
on
you
Twitter
don't
telling
do
us to come to games because we haven't had a home game since Georgia Southern, like a month ago.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like I saw a turnout in Georgia when they played us, and like that's all. It's always like that over there. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I don't think they have a bigger fan base. It's just like at some point, like I know JJ's is fun, but like everyone go to the game.
I think he just sent that out just because we haven't had a true home game in a month since the Georgia Southern game. You just got to put it out there just to better be safe than sorry.
Yeah. Plus, it's 11 a.m.
Plus, it's
too.
an 11 a.m. game.
You got to coax people in. Realistically, you do. I mean, it's an 11 a.m. game. There's no reason. And coming off 2 losses, I don't hate the move. It's on.
And in my opinion, I know it's only like 1 hour difference, but going to a game at 11 a.m., like going to a game at noon, if you're in the Eastern time zone, that's a lot more manageable than going to a game at 11 a.m. In my opinion, like that's easier.
Early. You're fucked up by 9.
That's kind of easier, like mentally to process. To go to a game at noon than 11. That'll be me when I'm at the Auburn game because it's an 11 a.m. game. I'll have to be messed up at like 9 a.m.
That might be me at the Auburn game. We'll see if my arm gets flushed up.
Speaking of the Auburn game, we're favored for the first time in an SEC game in forever. Favored by 3.5 points.
What did we open at
last year?
It opened at 4. We were laying 4 points at home, and then it's come down to 3.5. It's only come down to 3.5.
It'll be 2.5 by kickoff.
Yeah, the over/under is 53.5. So
we're gonna be underdog. This Mark Curls gets announced.
Oh my god!
Don't speak that into existence. Remember when he was? There was the scare that he was going to ref the A&M game, and it turns out he never was.
I think Aiden started that rumor.
It was the Georgia game.
No, I didn't. I saw him in that.
It's the A&M game because I remember texting my uncle, who's an Aggie, being like, "We're fucked. Congrats on the win," like ahead of time.
That was hilarious. I mean, he wouldn't have made it out alive of that building.
I don't think he's ever reffed the game at Arkansas, like since like he reffed the LSU game last year, but that was COVID year and there was like no one in the stands.
That was bad too.
Yeah, good times.
So what do we think's going to happen in this Auburn game? ESPN is giving us a 60% chance to win in the matchup predictor.
ESPN needs to like stick their tongues up their asses. That's a discussion for another day.
That's rat poison.
Yeah, I'm gonna say on that one, I think it's gonna be a lot lower scoring. I think anyone who thinks we're gonna pop even 35 points on them is probably high. It's gonna be like high 20s, low 30s that we can score on them. They have a good defense. Like they've showed it all year.
Like their defense was actually good against Georgia. Like better than our defense was against Georgia.
Especially early on. Like, well, I'm gonna say against Georgia early on, like we weren't the first 2 drives. It was bad, but the rest we like contained them really good until like they just blew it out at the end.
Right.
I don't think that was that bad, but I think Auburn has a good defense. They showed it against LSU, especially. I just hate going on Twitter and people are like, yeah, if we don't drop 50 against fucking Auburn after dropping 50 against Ole Miss, like, oh, I'll be so mad. Come on, man. Stupid. I would say we'd probably win this one like 20. Someone die? 28-21.
I could see that. I think.
Do we have a guest appearance?
Sister.
Ethan,
come on the pod.
I could definitely see like a 28-21 final. I mean, if anyone like to your point, if anyone expects us to put at 51 points again, you're gonna be very disappointed. Because Auburn does have a good defense too. Like I could see this being kind of like obviously more high scoring, but very similar to the A&M game where it's very like it's a slugfest, and like you're just gonna beat each other up. I mean I don't know what I'm gonna say, but it's gonna be. I could see it being like I'll go like a 30-20 final, but it's like a very similar game and pace too.
Yeah, I got Bo Nix. Game lines up right here. He has 3 touchdowns on the year. one interception with
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, he's averaging about below 55% complete percentage the whole year.
Yeah, but he's still a Heisman front runner.
And that's against 2 terrible teams.
As long as
State and Georgia State.
As long as Auburn doesn't put in what's his face from LSU, TJ Finley.
He's not that good either.
That is true. He went off against Georgia State.
Yeah, they put him in for like 1 series against LSU, and he didn't really do anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, next beats us, we're gonna lose it.
Yeah.
The thing
we just have to stay together downfield. If Bo Nix gets loose, then
but that's what I like is because the thing is like Bo Nix, gets out of the pocket way too quickly. I don't even understand like when the broadcasters are talking about like, oh, you got to stay in the pocket. Why aren't you going out or all that shit? And I just see him like run out. I'm like, I don't even know why you're supposed to stay in the pocket, but just stay in the pocket. Like you look like a fucking moron.
But Bonex was commenting on the referee situation.
Oh God, shut the fuck up, though. You have a son that you've been ignoring for 4 years.
Is that true? Like, is that just a running gag?
I don't know. I'm a forum guy now, and I read it on a forum, so it might be true. I like to think it is.
Aiden, you might have a son that you've been ignoring for a while too.
No, that's not possible. I don't have sex. I'm abstinent.
Oh, did you guys hear about who's that receiver for the Bills, McKenzie? Something like that. He was saying that in his recruiting trip to Notre Dame, the coach told him he wasn't allowed to have sex. Y'all hear that? And then he had committed already, and he decommitted like the next day.
That's some like Liberty. That's some like
and he said that, and he's like, I don't know if it's true or not. Like, he might have just been joking, but I just decommitted that Monday.
He was obviously joking because like a lot of Notre Dame players like came out and were like, "What the fuck? I had sex in college."
Yeah, well,
shout out Chase Claypool.
You remember Brady Quinn?
Right. Yeah.
He had like that very nice looking girlfriend. I don't look at other girls.
They had a good spiral too. People forget.
But at the draft when he was just like bouncing like to the later part of the first round, it was just like fixated on his girlfriend, just like waiting the whole time.
I'm gonna have to look a photo of it. I don't know.
How nice looking was she, guys?
What?
How nice looking was she?
I don't. She seemed like a very nice lady.
Was she like AJ McCarron's
girlfriend? Proud of her for being a nice lady.
Was AJ McCarron still with that girl? Do we know?
Oh, that's not what I'm talking about.
No, I'm just saying. Remember the AJ McCarron game?
I don't know. You should ask Brent. Musburger.
Musburger was so. My God.
At least the hormones are still going at that age.
The mic slipped out of his hand while Loach and then lathered up.
God, this is probably the worst podcast we've ever done. We might have to.
This is the best. We haven't done this in like 2 weeks. This is the best.
Yeah, it's actually a really good pod so far.
Yeah,
we have unlimited, so we don't.
Maybe if you paid attention and didn't like just
sorry,
act like you care with your fucking stupid ass AirPods and your 59 hat
and your gold chain.
Whoa.
With your gold chain, with your AOPI shirt. What is that? A fucking size medium?
How many books have you read from back there?
Yeah, fucking nerd.
Let's wrap it up.
Yeah,
let's wrap it. We have been rambling.
Even started the podcast.
Yeah, we have. I've been recording this entire time.
Pretty unflattering, pretty mangled too.
I think we should just kick Aiden out of the podcast. I think 4 people is too much.
I'm one of 2 with working internet.
That's the issue. You're taking all the juice from us.
Yeah.
Are you gonna die on the defending Gruden hill?
I'm not defending Gruden. I think like the rest, I'm not defending what he did or said. I just think the rest of the like people's views need to change on like how it's like an isolated event because it's not. And you either have to, if you really want to do something about it, do it. Don't just like be a hypocrite. And when it's time you want to cancel someone because he called you a pussy, which you are, Roger.
Another
pussy. What? Yeah. I mean,
I don't think it was about calling him a pussy. I think it might have been the other word.
No, I think if I'm Roger Goodell, I would have been pissed about the pussy thing. I think that's what he. Look, what are you looking at?
I got the Dodgers-Giants game on behind me.
Yeah, maybe if you turn that off, the Wi-Fi's be better.
It may be. We'll try that next time.
Anyways, anyone else think anything about the situation in cancel culture?
I think what Gruden did was wrong. I think the firing was justified.
Yeah,
I'm reading. I just went on Clay Travis's Twitter, and and Gab's just he's just saying exactly what Clay Travis is saying.
That's not good. But I mean, yeah, I think Clay Travis he's a little out there, but like, is he wrong though? Why is Deshaun Watson still in play? Why is Kareem Hunt? I bet Kareem Hunt all week. Like, dude, how is this guy like? He's on video kicking a girl in the head.
Kareem won me fantasy 1 week.
Yeah, but like, how are you still in the NFL? You kick the chick and you.
Big
Okay,
missed
that's gonna
opportunity for when Clay Travis was in Fayetteville not to have Gabs on his pregame show.
My
Clay
biggest
Travis
issue
was
is
put back.
I enjoy like
Playing Gabs and Alex Jones.
I enjoy like about like 5% of his takes, and the rest I just ignore. But like, yeah, I agree with him. Like, why is Deshaun Watson still in the NFL? The thing about the rappers I thought was really stupid. Like, let's not like, come on. Like, I thought that was pretty fucking hilarious. Like the fucking rap lyrics.
I haven't even looked at any of Clay Travis
he
tweets.
said,
I don't
like,
even
he
follow
said to
him.
the NFL, like, all these rappers doing your Super Bowl shows or whatever, like their lyrics are so like profane or something. Like, how are you allowing that? But John Gruden canceled. I was like, well, that's probably like, I think you're going a little too high there. I think you should have just stuck to the Deshaun Watson being a serial sexual assaulter. But yeah. But for me,
Allegedly.
it's really Kareem Hunt still being in the league. Great fantasy football player, but like, man,
Joe Mixon is too.
you punted a girl and you're still in the league.
Joe Mixon broke that girl's jaw on video.
That Joe Mixon like tables all time.
Out of Pickleman's.
That's sacrilegious.
Wait, the Joe Mixon was at Pickleman's?
It was at a Pickleman's in Norman, not the one in Fayetteville, but it was at a Pickleman's.
But okay, but so what's worse? What John Gruden said or punting a girl?
I mean, both are horrible. That's a horrible
Both are
question.
bad. The answer to that question is
Yeah,
both are
both
bad.
Okay,
Yeah,
just
it's a
about.
horrible
That's my
question.
point. Like,
I don't agree with
no,
any.
but seriously, like,
Yeah.
like where does the NFL draw the line on that? It's like,
I don't
both
know,
of them.
man.
I think they should.
I think
It's like,
both are
oh,
bad.
you-
I think both should be punished.
yeah, and like, what should we just suspend Gruden for 8 games? Like,
Oh.
that's what they did for Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, but Kareem Hunt's not a coach. He doesn't. He's not a culture guy.
I mean, he was like the best running back in the league, or top 3 at that point.
He fumbled his first carry. People forget that.
Yeah, and then he ran for like 700 yards on the Patriots.
Yeah.
All right, and that was the Academic Redshirt podcast.
Let's get out. We need to
See
get
you
out
guys
of
next
this before